Yo, what's up, guys? Today, man, I'll be talking about Good Will Hunting. Now, Good Will Hunting came out 27 years, 4 months, and 14 days ago on December 5th, 1997, and I am reviewing it today for the first time on April 19th, 2025, 27 years later. Now, first things first, I want to just say rest in peace to the legendary Robin Williams. I think this is one of the first movies that I've seen of his, and unfortunately he is no longer with us, so rest in peace to Robin Williams. He was obviously Sean McGuire in Good Will Hunting. It was a therapist. He had a little budding rivalry going with Professor Lambeau, aka Gerald, aka Jerry as well. Yeah, that was good. That was good. So overall, I would give Good Will Hunting a 9.5 out of 10. The basis of the movie is there's a genius named Will Hunting. That's why the movie is called Good Will Hunting. So there's a guy named Will Hunting. He's played by Matt Damon, legendary actor, and he's a genius. But initially we see him, he's going on the wrong path. He's hanging around with people that he's has a lot of trust in, but you can see that they don't have these skills that he does, so they have to resort to doing other things to make money and things of that nature. They don't have his intellect. So we initially see him at the beginning of the movie working as a janitor, finding out it's for Harvard. That's where Professor Lambeau first sees Will, as he figured out an insane math equation that only like two people in the world have figured out. It was so insane and so notorious that people are literally showing up to Professor Lambeau's literally class that he was teaching as a professor at Harvard to figure out who it was. And I'm surprised that nobody else took credit for it. They were just like, oh, that's not me, that's not me, that's not me. And then we see Will, who during his time as a janitor, he's literally just figuring out equations, and then Professor Lambeau sees him after maybe seeing that maybe that was him, maybe think he was doing graffiti on there, and I think it was more so. I don't think Professor Lambeau thought initially that was Will that did the insane math equation, but we see Will running away. He's like yelling "fuck you" at Professor Lambeau. He doesn't want anybody to know that it was him initially. Actually, I don't even know if he even thought that his equation had gone that big at Harvard. So he just thought he was in trouble, and he just instinctively did what he probably does in the real world outside of work, which is, not being respectful and thinking everybody's out to get him, things like that. He just can't trust anybody to save his life. You see that throughout the whole movie. Just insane to go from a janitor to a genius pipeline. That was insane. And then he had the moment with Carmine, who was talking to a girl that one of his boys was gonna shoot the shot at, but he's like, no. Then he remembers, wait, Carmine, I know you used to bully me in school. I don't know if it was like elementary or middle school, but bully me in school. And he didn't do anything there. They drive off. They go to a park. They see Carmine, and then Will just gives him the beating of hell. Literally, almost beats him to a pulp. Gets detained for that, and then the crew. From Carmine's crew to Will's crew, just go out and all out brawl. Like I said, Will ends up getting detained, and with Will getting detained, he has a $50K bail, and there's two things that Will has to do. He has to go to therapy, one, and he has to be under supervision of Professor Lambeau. Now, Professor Lambeau, it took him a while to get Will a therapist. Will is a very interesting guy. Again, he has lack of abandonment issues. He doesn't trust anybody, so it was very, very tough for him, Professor Lambeau trying to get him a job because he's obviously intellectual. By the way, Professor Lambeau is also a mathematician. He's a math god. He's just insanely intellectual about mathematics. So those two, you would think, would be really good together, but they come from two different worlds. So it's tough for them to end up meshing. But shout out to Professor Lambeau. He really saved Will's life. He was going on a wrong path with his friends. I mean, his friends are still fine and things like that, but the way that their life was going to where the height that Will could go, they were just differing, if you get what I'm saying. But then they go to the Harvard bar, and then there's a girl named Skylar there, and there was this Harvard nerd who was there, who was trying to I don't know what he's trying to do. Initially, I was like, oh, he's just with that girl. Okay, cool, whatever. But no, apparently he wasn't with her. He was just this random nerd dude that was like dissecting like random quotes from books. And then Will's boy initially pulled up to the two girls trying to get like a two-man going with the group, and then Will comes out of nowhere and just spits his intellects and basically calls him out for overpriced education and just dissecting quotes from books and not having his own opinions. And then we see Skylar. I'm not gonna lie, for the first time I saw Skylar, that's some fine shit, man. Shout out to Mini Driver. Hey, Skylar, you some fine shit. And she had that British accent too. Hey, I don't know if it's just me, y'all boys, but that British accent, Spanish accent. Ooh, wait. I just do something different to me. Hey, I know I'm not tripping. I know I'm not tripping. Like I said, shout out to Professor Lambo. Then we meet Sean, aka Robin Williams. Like I mentioned, R.I.P. to the great Robin Williams, who, like I said, initially they had like this, not initially, thought the whole our movie, they had this like budding like rivalry between Lambo and Sean, and you know, they end up getting it passed at the end, which is good. But basically, Lambo won an award. They're both really intellectual, and or Lambo's life is going a lot better than Sean's is going. But yeah, at least they were able to come together to help Will out at the end there. Like I said, Will was so unserious with these therapies. He went through like 5 different people. I'm surprised he even got past like the first one. He literally thought the first therapist was coming on to him. He thought it was gay. He thought it was coming on to him. Like, that was absurd. Just an insane remark to make. And then the last one, which literally might have been the worst one, was with Sean, where he literally told him that his wife is getting piped and they chose the wrong woman, and Sean chokes him out. It's our surprise, he literally continues to be his therapist. Imagine your first therapy session, therapist chokes you out and continues to be your therapist for months and months and months. And at the end, you build a really solid relationship with each other. That's just insane. That is just absurd. That is just mind-boggling. But he saw good potential in Will, which obviously Lambo saw as well. But he had to know to not push Will. He ends up finding out that Will has abandonment issues, so he really can't push Will. He has to do that at like a strategic way to get the most out of Will. Lambo was trying to put him onto these jobs and this, that, and the third. Will's very intellectual, but missing that extra push, but in a strategic way where you don't make him run away from him. You get what I'm saying? Sean, man, he let Will off good. He was gonna obliterate him for those wife comments again. Will just tugging out of his ass, not knowing anything about Sean, not knowing that his wife was no longer with us, unfortunately. And then yeah, then Sean does a really good job of, in my opinion, like unraveling on just the intricacies of life, just breaking everything down. You don't know this, you don't know that. What do you know about this? What do you know about that? You don't know anything about this. You just read these books and you this and you're that. Like, a lot of people nowadays, they think they really know you because what you show off at this very moment, but they don't know the real you. They don't know anything about you. They may read all these books, but just by looking at somebody, you're not gonna know of their whole entire life. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people just judging people and coming quick to conclusions and jump into conclusions. In reality, they couldn't be farther from the truth. So yeah. And like I said, Sean was just a really good father figure. Shout out to Sean. Then Sean told that bar story at the Red Sox game with the homer. As a baseball fan, that's fire. And I was a Yankees fan, not trying to hear about the Red Sox, baby. But that was a fire story. He ended up meeting his wife there at the bar. His friends gave him a ticket to the game of the World Series. And I think it was Carlton Fisk at a homer, and he missed the game because he was at the bar with his wife, obviously at the time, but ended up coming in. I was fire. That was a really good story. I don't know what I would do there. Game 6 of the World Series, or a mystery woman that might lead to something that might not. I mean, like me, I'm not gonna lie. I'm about to just like pick a number down to one. I'm a sports geek. I'm a nerd. All due respect. And if we're really hitting it off, I'm mostly not gonna leave like cordial, cool, not anything insane off the rip. Give me to that baseball World Series Game 6, baby. Come on now. And then we had Skylar, who, like I said, she was initially with the Harvard nerd, and Will was, backing up his mans, and they had a little moment, and Skylar was waiting there with her friend for 45 minutes for Will to show up. Will did not end up going back to see her, and unfortunately, she just waited there for a while, and at the end of the day, she literally goes up to Will and says, "Damn, waited here for 45 minutes. You didn't show up once." And Will didn't get it. He didn't get the notice. He didn't get the vibe. It's down this moment. You thought. Skylar ends up giving Will her number. And then he walks out with his boys, goes to see that Harvard nerd, knocks on his window after he's sitting with a girl. He's like, "You like apples? I like them apples." Goes him the number, just on the napkin, just a million aura, just aura pulsating, just oozing with aura. Pause. That was insane. And then they went over to Skylar's room. I don't know how. A couple days later, they just go to her room, and Will's there. The door was like half wide open. Have a moment. Will's trying to spend some time with her, doing her work. So Will, as the mathematician and as the genius that he is, he tries to do it expeditiously quick so he can help her out, do it on his own and show it to her, and then they can have their moment. And they went out and did that, which is cool. And then they went to Skylar's house, and they had another moment. Will was getting it on, Will was getting laid, and then sold. Then he sold. A couple days later, I don't know how, if it was like days or months that went by, but he sold. So basically, from the beginning, she was showing a lot more affection and love towards him than he was showing to her. I don't know if he was just playing that shy Riz, been hard to get. I don't know what it was doing, but she was obviously showing a lot more love and affection towards him. So then you see that, and then she tells him that she loves him, and he doesn't say it back. And you have this moment, and then you can see that she inadvertently opens up some wounds in his life, because initially he said that he had 13 siblings, 13 brothers, when in reality he's an orphan. Parents are no longer with us. His foster dad beat him, and all he has is really good friends. And he lives in a one-bed house. All he has, and his friend Chucky picks him up every day for work. Other Ben Affleck. Only seen him pick up Ben Affleck recently was him and Jennifer Lopez. Shout out to bro. Shout out to bro. Yeah, she inadvertently opens up some wounds in his life, and they kind of get into it, and he's like, "Love you. Tell me you don't love me, and I'll move on." And she breaks down after she says that she doesn't love her. That's tough. Well, sold, brother. We'll get into it at the end. But moving to Cali off rip, so she was in Harvard school for 4 years. Right at the tail end, she fucking go. Then they get into it, and she just popped out of nowhere after laying in bed and damn near half asleep. Will waking up, and boom, pops the question: "Will, who's move to Cali with me?" He's like, "Damn, I don't know." That's tough. That's a tough question. You can't just say that and take it back. And he eventually just thinks about it. He's like, "No, I can't. My whole life's here." And I'm telling Chucky at the end, "Man, I want to live it forever. Kids, our kids gonna Little League games, watching Patriots games." Like, Chucky's like, "No, you're here in 20 years, I'll kill you. Like, you have too much potential to be staying in Boston and South. You gotta move on to bigger and better things. You can't just stay trapped in this box." You know what I'm saying? Bill just at that point just couldn't trust anybody, couldn't commit to anybody outside of his group. So he felt like he left them, I guess, before he felt that they would leave him, which is tough. But W Bands, Chucky was a great friend. W, if you're talking him up, letting him know all of that, like, you can't just stay in this box. You have so much potential. You can't just stay here. Like, this is where we belong. We don't have the potential that you have. You being here is a bad thing for you. Us being here is normal for us. This is where we are supposed to be. You're supposed to be on the bigger and better things. You feel what I'm saying? And then we see Jerry and Sean get into it, and the quote that I had written down was, "He pushes people away before they have a chance to leave." That is the definition of anime issue. he just could not commit to save life. Then they had a moment, and Will breaks down in Sean's arms after he says, "Not your fault. Not your fault. Not your fault." Just keeps going in his face. "It's not your fault. It's not your fault. Not your fault." That was just chef's kiss. That was absolute beautiful. This is why Good Will Hunting is one of my favorite movies of all time. Watched it for the first time, started it yesterday, got it in today. Beautiful. Chef's kiss. Phenomenal. Like I said, fuck those foster dead. Then his boys end up getting him a nice car, a good whip. The ending with Chucky at his house. Chucky said as well during the conversation with Will that his best moment of the day is when he goes to Will's house for that 10 seconds. He doesn't know if Will is gonna open up the door because he wants him to not be there, so that he's on to bigger and better things. But when he opens the door up, it's kind of like disappointing because like obviously he wants to see his boy, but like wants to see him on to bigger and better things, and that's not where he is at currently. And then Will at the end going to see Skylar. I thought he took the job. I think he did take the job. He's talking his boss up with Sean at the last therapy session before he went off to, what was it, India, somewhere else in Baltimore, India, China, in Baltimore, and he left a phone number for like the answering machine college, and they had a good moment because initially they just were there just because forced to be nails, and they really ended up building a connection. Initially, he just didn't talk to Sean. At points, he would go through therapy session without talking to Sean at all, and then he really gets into it. And I feel like every single time they really got into something, the therapy session would just end right there. At the end, he ends up moving out of Boston, going to Cali to see Skylar, which I wish we could have saw, them at the end together and see what that ended up leading to. Like Skylar's reaction to seeing Will, but beggars cannot be choosers. At the end of the day, I give Good Will Hunting a 9.5 out of 10. That was easily one of the greatest movies I've seen in my entire life. Just absolute chef's kiss. Let's get into the cast. So Matt Damon, like I mentioned earlier, was Will Hunting. Ben Affleck was Chucky. Robin Williams, R.I.P., was Sean. Skylar was played by Minnie Driver. Billy was played by Cole Hauser. Morgan was played by Casey Affleck. Is Casey Affleck related to Ben Affleck? Hold on now. I don't even know this, to be honest. Ooh, honestly, don't. Wait, hold on. Let me look this up right on cue. They're both from Boston. Hold on. Casey Affleck and Ben Affleck. I might have just seen something right here. Casey Affleck is the younger brother of Ben Affleck. Oh, that's fire. Shout out to the Affleck. It's actually pretty fire. What? Professor Gerald Lambo was played by Stellan Skarsgård. Kristen with looking some fine shape. She was played by Rachel Majorsky. She was at the bar. Hey, I think for the most part, that was it. Hey, that was fire. That was fire. Definitely, if you have not watched that, I mean, missing out. Great movie. Shout out to Good Will Hunting. I also want to see you. It's like I need to start giving respect to the producers. Who produced Good Will Hunting? Because brother, you are him. You are Himothy, brother. You are Himothy. Shout out to who produced it. Produced by Lawrence Bender. Written by Ben Affleck and Matt Damon. Two demons. Shout out to them. No wonder they get so much notoriety. Shout out to them. Overall, like I said, Good Will Hunting, 9.5 out of 10. Just an absolutely phenomenal movie. Yeah. But other than that, y'all, that is the video. So go down below, drop a like, comment down below, sub up. Make sure to follow me on Twitch, Twitter, and TikTok. Your boy John. Hopefully you guys did enjoy the video, and I'm out, man. Peace.